Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most anticipated, globally hyped, and ultimately heartbreaking product launches in all of automotive history, the Tata Nano. It's a fascinating story because this was a vehicle born out of pure, genuine empathy, engineered with sheer brilliance, and yet it was completely derailed by a fundamental misunderstanding of human psychology.
Okay, let's dive right into the central mystery here. 1. That single digit represents the exact number of Tata Nano cars sold in its final month of February 2019. I mean, really think about that. Just one single car sold across the entire nation of India. For a vehicle that experts projected would expand India's entire automobile industry by 65%, that number is just staggering. So how on earth did we get here?
Part 1. Inspiration on a rainy day. To understand how the most hyped car on Earth failed so miserably, we have to look at its origin. The year is 2002. Ratan Tata is sitting in his chauffeur-driven car in Bengaluru on a wet, miserable, rainy day. Suddenly, a scooter carrying an entire family slips on the wet road right in front of him. His driver slams on the brakes, stopping just in time to avoid crushing them. In that terrifying, heart-stopping moment, Ratan Tata realized that millions of Indian families risk their lives every single day commuting on two-wheelers in extreme weather. He resolved right then and there to build a safe, all-weather vehicle for the common Indian family.
As a trained architect, Ratan Tata literally sketched his way to a solution. He started out by drawing a scooter with 2 extra wheels at the back. Then he sketched a scooter with a protective cage around it. Next, he conceptualized this 4-wheeled buggy without any doors or windows. But ultimately, he decided those half measures just weren't enough. He needed to build a proper, enclosed, affordable small car.
Part 2. Engineering the impossible.
Industry leaders, including the chairman of Suzuki himself, publicly declared that making a 1 lakh rupee car was literally impossible. But the Tata team in Pune, they did not back down. In fact, their design-to-cost approach was so incredibly innovative that they generated 34 brand new patents. This included building the first-ever successful 624cc 2-cylinder engine for a car, which was something previously reserved mostly for two-wheelers or outer rickshaws. So, the crucial question is, how did they actually hit that impossible 1 lakh price tag? While Tata fixed the price first and engineered backward, they threw out the heavy, expensive front-engine design. By moving the engine to the back, they totally eliminated the long drive shaft. They also studied motorcycles to create a single-layer body, ditching the heavy conventional double-layer chassis. And the brilliant side effect of all this, moving the engine to the rear actually increased the cabin space by 21% compared to a Maruti 800.
Part 3. Hype and roadblocks.
Now, the journey from prototype to production was plagued with roadblocks. We're talking violent protests that actually forced Tata to abandon a 1,500-car factory in West Bengal and relocate all the way to Gujarat. Yet, at the 2008 Auto Expo in Delhi, the Nano finally made its debut. Transported in utter secrecy by shotgun-armed guards, the reveal absolutely captivated the world. Over the years of development, the cost of raw materials like steel and rubber had absolutely skyrocketed. Everyone expected the car to launch at around 1.5 lakh. But Ratan Tata took the microphone and famously declared that the price would remain exactly 1 lakh rupees, stating simply, "A promise is a promise."
The world went absolutely wild. Global media called it a revolution, and the hype was entirely unprecedented. Tata Motors set up forums at 3,000 locations across the country, and within just 17 days, they got over 200,000 bookings. Their website literally crashed under the weight of 30 million visits. It really looked like the Nano had officially conquered the market.
Part 4. Fires, Flaws, and Finance.
But almost immediately after the launch, the dream began to crack under the weight of terrible user experiences and logistical nightmares. Look at this incredibly hostile buying journey for their target demographic. Remember, this car was explicitly for middle-class two-wheeler owners, but Tata initially sold them in premium showrooms right next to luxury Safari SUVs. Customers felt deeply intimidated. Worse, because these buyers often lacked credit histories, banks just flat-out denied their loans. So customers were forced to scrape together 1.5 lakh upfront out of pocket, and then, due to production delays, they had to wait an entire year for delivery. They made buying this car intensely inconvenient.
And for those who did finally get the car, the nightmare sometimes deepened. Around 2010, roughly 6 incidents of Tata Nanos catching fire were reported. In one highly publicized case in Mumbai, a brand new silver Nano caught fire just 45 minutes out of the showroom. While the family survived, horrifying images of the burning car with the ceremonial delivery garland literally still hanging on it went incredibly viral. A 5-year-old boy in that car was so traumatized, he refused to enter any car afterward.
Adding total insult to injury, the safety rating destroyed its foundational promise. When global NCAP crashed the Nano into a wall at 64 kilometers per hour, the front crumpled like cardboard. It scored exactly 0 stars in both adult and child safety. 0. The core dream of the safe family vehicle was completely shattered.
Buyers pretty quickly realized they were purchasing a massive compromise. I mean, it lacked basic features. No AC, no power steering, no airbags. To save money, it only had one windshield wiper, 3 wheel bolts instead of 4. The fuel tank was a mere 15 liters, which made intercity travel a total hassle. And get this, you literally had to pop the front bonnet just to put fuel in the thing. It had an engine that sounded like an auto rickshaw, leading Bloomberg to actually list it among the 50 ugliest cars of the past 50 years.
Part 5. The cost of cheap.
This brings us to the real psychological core of our explainer. We're going to see exactly how a Guinness World Record for the world's cheapest car became a fatal curse. For the Indian middle class, buying a first car is a profoundly emotional event. It's a status symbol. It announces to your neighbors and your relatives that you've achieved upward mobility. But driving the world's cheapest car signaled the exact opposite. It made families feel like they were moving down the social hierarchy. It became a car people felt they bought out of compulsion, not aspiration. As Ratan Tata himself later admitted, giving it the tag of the cheapest car was highly unfortunate. It basically became known as the poor man's car.
Used car dealers masterfully capitalized on this psychological misstep. The second the Nano launched, secondhand dealers slashed their prices by 30%. Suddenly, you as a consumer had a choice. Do you buy a brand new but heavily compromised cheapest car in the world, or do you buy a fully equipped, prestigious secondhand Alto or Wagon R for the exact same price? Most chose the prestige of the secondhand car. Furthermore, two-wheelers were still getting double the fuel mileage of the Nano, keeping a lot of those buyers right where they were.
Part 6. The silent farewell. Realizing their profound misunderstanding of customer psychology, Tata Motors entered a frantic period of rebranding. They desperately tried to pivot the Nano into a trendy, aspirational youth vehicle. They ran this Celebrate Awesomeness music video campaign. They launched the Nano Twist with power steering, and then the Gen X Nano with an automated transmission and an opening boot. But these upgrades hiked the price up to 2.36 lakhs. This placed the Nano in direct competition with vastly superior entry-level cars like the Alto 800, which had bigger engines and proven reliability. Competitors like Hyundai and Datsun just watched the Nano's mistakes and launched much better alternatives.
Ultimately, the stigma of the poor man's car was so deeply ingrained in the public consciousness that the Nano sold fewer than 300,000 units in its entire lifetime. Ironically, the final nail in the coffin came from Tata itself. In 2016, they launched the Tata Tiago, a proper, modern hatchback that corrected every single mistake made by the Nano. The Tiago completely cannibalized whatever tiny bit was left of the Nano's market share.
10 years after its spectacular, world-stopping debut, Ratan Tata's deeply well-intentioned dream car was silently discontinued. There was no farewell advertisement, no big press conference, just quiet closure. And it leaves us with this incredibly powerful question. When you build a product for the people, do you truly understand what the people value most? The Tata Nano will forever remain a profound reminder that all the engineering brilliance in the world can never overcome a fundamental misunderstanding of human psychology. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.